Good evening, everyone. Right now, it's 9:02 on Thursday, January 27th. Oh, someone recently asked for advice, and I thought it would be a good idea. Someone passed out on the beach, so it's either Gulliver or Gullivar. Arr. Oh my gosh. I'm like 80% sure this what we bought. The painting is fake, or a statue. I don't remember what we bought, but whatever it is, I know it's fake. So the plans today, nah, there are no plans today. You know, praise Helix. I'm just buying time at this point until Pokemon comes out. Not that we'll be streaming it, mind you. Probably not. Nah, I don't want to be entertaining for Pokemon. Like I'm entertaining. What am I? Some type of entertainer who has talent? Nah, I'm just some schmuck. It's Zuck time. I'm so glad that worked. I was not paying attention. I don't know if we're going to his house or if he's coming to ours. Oh, we're going to his house. Okay. Cotton's candies. Nom 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 nom. There really isn't like a better eating animation, is there? Stretch. Isn't there one that's like, come here? Yeah, I mean, that starts out like that. Eager, there we go. Maybe? I swear there's one that's like more like prodding towards the camera. I guess not. I don't think it's one of the new ones. Yeah, bring it here. Cotton candy. I have a very similar stand mixer. Oh, come on. Sit down next to me, Zuck. You know, it's actually kind of surprising. Out of all the Octopi, Zuck is the last one. They've all moved away, except for Zuck. It's gonna be higher. It's almost always higher. I think I've seen it lower once. It's even when it's like, when they draw like an 8. Yeah, it's higher. Okay, Zuck, I'll see you around. Yeah, out of all the Octopi, I did not expect Zucker to be the last one. I would have totally believed Octavian was, and again, we originally only gave up Octavian because we knew we could get him back. But yeah, somehow Zuck became the last of them. The last Octopi. Octopi. Oh, Octopus Nakajima. Ah, God, that show's fucking funny. Octopi. I can't. You know, I probably wouldn't watch it again, though. Especially not anytime soon. Because while it is good and it is funny, I don't know. It's a weird one. It's good. I honestly, I like the stuff with the main character whose name I don't remember in Sun. That stuff is, I think, good. That stuff is fun. Sun's a good, interesting character. The stuff with Lunar, on the other hand, I think is a little less interesting. Like, I know it's to create a sort of, like, love triangle, but I'm just not as invested in the stuff with Lunar. I know Lunar is, what, the tsundere or whatever. I just find her a little too annoying. Her dad's really funny, though. Because he's the Terminator. And that... Oh, my God. The episode where they, where Sun and Lunar's dad dress up as schoolgirls to try to get closer to their daughters. Holy shit. God, that show's wild. I do love it. It's a great comedy. And I'm not gonna be, you know, I'm gonna gag. I know I'm beating around the bush. I'm gonna actually tell you the name. I'm not gonna be one of these fucking TikToks that I see where it's like, oh, this show is so great, and then they never tell you the fucking name. I'm so tired of that. It's My Bride is a Mermaid. Where, plot synopsis: guy, while visiting his grandmother, falls into the sea, gets saved by a mermaid, but because of mermaid code, or mermaid law, or whatever, rules of the sea, he can either die or marry the mermaid. So, the mermaid is like, I'm gonna marry him to save his life. And, it's just, you know, hilarity ensues from there. Because the mermaids are, like, Yakuza, they're, like, mobsters. And, it's just really fucking funny. Not perfect, but really solid still. The, oh, what is it called? The Song of Sleep? Is that what it's called? Run, Bepon, run, Bepon, run, run, Bepon. It's wild. It's a wild show. Yeah, today's an anime day. You know, I did watch an anime, and I thought, you know, we should probably talk about that at some point. So today is an anime day. Yep. Yep. Anime day. Any other stupid animes? Probably. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Besides for the, you know, the one show that I did actually watch last week that we're going to talk about. But yeah, I'm so sick of these TikToks where it's like, oh, here's a great show, or here's a funny moment from a show, and then they don't actually tell you what the show is. Like, there's a guy who talks about manga, who actually, like, straight up is like, yeah, here's, like, the video starts off with the manga name, and then tells you, like, oh, here's what's good about it. And I've seen some really there's actually some really interesting ones that I've seen in there, where I'm like, oh, I gotta like the video, and maybe I'll come back, maybe if I ever get around, maybe I'll actually pick up some of these. Like, oh, what was the one, it was like Super Women in Love or something like that, where it's about, so there's a villain who falls in love with a hero, and, right, she loves her, but then due to, like, circumstances outside of her control, she has to break up and become a villain again, but it's to, like, protect her or something. I don't remember the details, but I'm like, whatever it is, whatever the details were, I'm like, oh, that sounds really good. Oh, I'm super interested in that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get around to that at some point. I don't know. Manga is one of those things where it's like, I've read stuff, but and even though I feel like I've read a fair bit, I've also read nothing at the same time. Like, I remember when I was ahead in My Hero Academia, like, I was reading the manga, and I was ahead of where the anime was. And now I'm behind. Right now, not only am I behind in the manga, but even the show is farther than where I was at. I just didn't like Mirio. And And, I don't know how much he's in the show anymore, because, spoiler alert, a thing happens, and, literally, I don't even know how that ends. I just remember the thing happens, and that's it. I don't even remember what happens after the thing happens. I just remember the thing happening. It's been a while. It's probably been a year or two at this point. Man, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Same thing with comic books. Like, there are some comics I'm like, oh, I should read that. Oh, that sounds fun. That's funny. Especially being on comic book TikTok so much, I'm like, yeah, I'd probably like that. Oh, hey, look, it's another... I didn't point this out, but it's another week of Perfect Snow Boys. I wonder why they're called Snow Boys. Like, is there a reason for that? Or is it just to, like... Because, you know, everything in Animal Crossing is a little different. I don't honestly know. I'm behind on it. I think I talked about this the other day, how I am behind in all of my podcasts. Like, I tried listening to an episode today while I was working. Nope, didn't even finish it. I tried to listen to a single episode, and I couldn't even finish a single episode. I'm so behind on everything right now. But hey, I'm still playing Animal Crossing, so I guess that counts for something. For how long? I don't know. But we're still playing it at the moment. I don't know. Eventually I'm going to become too busy to do it every day. Like, because this is my last semester. For a while, anyways. Maybe. Maybe this is my last semester. Maybe something came up. Maybe I got a specific opportunity that I'm going to take advantage of. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I don't know. I guess let's go hit up the islands. You know how it is at this point. So yeah, I guess let's just freaking talk about anime. So I watched the show, Combatants Will Be Disbanded, or Combatants Will Be Dissolved. Oh gosh, it was Combatants Will Be Dispelled, maybe? I don't remember the last word. Oh shit. Do I still have it open? Combatants Will Be Dispatched. Did I say dispatched in that list of words I just listed? I don't remember. Combatants Will Be Dispatched. I'm pretty sure this is the same person who did Konosuba. I'm pretty sure. If not, it's at least the same, like, studio. Like, there's some sort of connection. Like, there are some things that happen where I'm like, even just visually, you can tell, oh, it's kind of like Konosuba, right? Visual style. But I'm like, yeah, this is... I think the show is fine. Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is a fine show. And yeah, I liked it. Hey, Leah Vivian, how you doing? Let's see, is this fake real quick? I think it is. That looks like a star to me. Oh gosh, yeah, that's really fake. Holy crap. But yeah, so I was the basic premise is this guy on Earth works for this. It's an isekai. I just straight up should say that. Technically, he doesn't die. It's kind of like the last show we talked about, that one about the shield hero, where it's like it's technically not an isekai, but it uses basically all the same tropes. But yeah, so this guy works for this evil corporation that's like trying to take over the world. And technically they haven't taken over the world, but they're really freaking close to doing it. So they're like, okay, once we've taken over Earth, we now need to take over the next world. So they invent teleportation, and this guy is like sent ahead on like a scouting mission. And of course, the world they send him to is like a fantasy world filled with magic and whatnot. And, right, he works for this evil, that literally, the whole point is, like, they're an evil organization. Even though they're not, like, the people who run them more do, like, evil as, like, a theme. But yeah, he can do evil things to get, like, you know, lift up a girl's skirt, because it's anime. To get evil points, which then allow him to, like, buy stuff to bring into the world. And it's him, and he's set with, like, an android who's, like... He's an idiot, of course. He's an isekai protagonist, so he's an idiot pervert. You know, you're used to these tropes by this point. I know some people really hate them, and depending on the show I think this is fine. Right? Where you've got the pervert who's got a heart of gold and really cares for the people around him. Yeah, that's kind of what this is. But yeah, he's got like an android assistant who is supposed to be like an assistant, but over time they develop like a more partner relationship. And there is like this element of like how human is this android that they kind of hint at, but I feel like they never go into enough detail on. Like there's this one moment where he calls her a partner. And she like freezes, like not knowing how to respond. And I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting." And that's it. They don't go into any more detail than that. They call each other partners through the rest of the show, but there's clearly something a little bit more there. And the show just never goes into enough detail for me. I don't know. Again, this is something that clearly will have multiple seasons. But, conceptually, yeah, he's coming into this world, and he's an asshole. Like, he gets involved in he finds the local government, there's a weather machine, and he changes the password to Dick Festival, because he's an asshole. And an idiot. But, he gains, like, military power, and he does it by being a villain. Like, oh, and like, all these nights are about, like, honorable war tactics, and he comes in and is like, we're gonna destroy their supply routes, we're gonna cut off their food, we're gonna ambush them from the bushes, right? Stuff like that. Like, he's playing the villain, and it's working. It's gaining him military prestige, but, like, there's still, like, they're like, oh, they don't trust him. Like, there's this one general who hates him, and they think he's a spy, which he technically is, and they do figure that out, because he's working for the princess, and, like, the princess's, like, personal bodyguard, Snow, I think her name was, is, like, directly under him, and, you know, she is the eye of his ire, right? Whenever he's, like, lifting up a woman's skirt, he does it to her, because it's fun, because he makes fun of her. Again, there are some things in the show that just remind me of Konosuba, and Snow is Aqua. A more competent Aqua, admittedly, but Aqua nevertheless. I think her name was Aqua. Azura? I don't remember. I haven't seen Konosuba since it aired. Years ago now. And I know they did a second season, and maybe even a movie at some point. But yeah, and other characters, and like, you know, Konosuba had the pervert, I say pervert, she was BDSM. And they had Megumi, the explosion girl, who's for some reason the only one's name who I remember. I think it was Megumi. This one, you have a Chimera who is obsessed with eating people, because when she eats people, she gains their powers. Even though that never, like, she tries to eat a few people throughout the show, and it, like, never comes into play, really. Like, her gaining the people who she eats powers. Now, they talk about it, and, like, she tries to eat a griffin to gain the ability to fly. It doesn't happen. And then the other one is there's this priestess who works for like this god of death. And early on, she dies, and it's like, oh shit. Of course they can bring her back from the dead, because, yeah, priestess of death and all that. And she's in a wheelchair for most of the show. And I was like, oh, well, basically the whole show. And I was like, oh, putting a character in a wheelchair. Okay, that's an interesting step. I really like that. And then you find out that she can walk the whole time. The only reason she's in a wheelchair is because a curse she tried to put on somebody backfired, and now she can no longer wear shoes or anything on her feet. So instead of, because walking around without shoes would be uncomfortable, she instead just is in a wheelchair. But yeah, so that was kind of disappointing, right? Because you had a real chance to have, oh, here's a person with a wheelchair. Oh, this could be really interesting, and she's a soldier in the military. And the reason why these two, like, show up in his squadron are because, like, they're shit on by the military. Like, they're sent on death runs and whatnot. Which gives them a high kill count. But it's like, oh, these are, like, the bottom class of the military. And I'm like, oh, right, there's something interesting to be said here. And, yeah, they just kind of don't really do it. But, yeah, no, she can walk. She just can't wear shoes. And they do get one really funny joke out of it. There is one joke where they actually are like, I don't believe you. Let's actually put shoes on you. That I thought was pretty funny. That's at, like, the very end of the season, though. But yeah, I think she was an interesting character. When she dies, her wheelchair breaks. And the main character gets her a new one. And they go around town, like, messing with other people. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I like that. That's a good scene. Because, again, he's an asshole, but he's an asshole with a heart of gold. And he does care for his troops. It's an isekai protagonist. You know what to expect at this point. I mean, he's overpowered, obviously. But he's overpowered. He's the butt of everyone's joke. Which is a big part of it. Oh god, and then there is a fucking lolicon. Because of fucking course there is in these shows. I don't know why animes keep doing this. Admittedly, this is not the worst one I've seen, because he's barely in it. But there's a guy who's half human, half tiger. And yeah, he, oh my god, how this fucking show ends. Like, they end up there's like a chimera who controls water. Because there are like these 4 elemental generals. And at the very end, they defeat the water chimera. And then they're like, okay, we're going to torture you. Well, the lolicon's going to torture you. And puts him in a maid outfit and... yeah. Oh, we already have that. Okay. Okay, let's head back. Again, he's barely in the show. And they even at one point out, like, how we're just gonna go send you on a death mission to get rid of you. Yeah, overall, I think the show is fine. I think again, for what it is, an isekai with a horny but gold-hearted protagonist, a weird cavalcade of characters who are just trying to, like, make their way in this sort of, like, weird fantasy world. The hero's a little OP. They're fighting against demons to, stop the demon lord. And, the fire demon general. That's got some good interactions. Because I like this aspect of, like, oh, well, if you're an evil guy, why don't you just come join the demon army? And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Of course, he assaults her to get evil points, and... because, yeah, that's a whole aspect to this show. I don't know. I thought it was fine enough. They get lost in the desert at one point, and, like, they spend an entire episode lost in the desert. And it gets to the point where the chimera is gonna eat him. Because she's so hungry. And I think I keep wanting to call her a necromancer. She's not a necromancer. But she dies, like, out. I think she dies of dehydration or whatever while out in the desert. It's a fine show. It's nothing amazing, but it's nothing terrible either. I know some people who... I personally have no problem with the isekai genre. I think there are some that are definitely more generic and more formulaic than others. But you can have fun. As long as you don't take it too seriously, you can have fun with it. You can have a good time. And I tried to have fun with it. I had a good time. If they made an... I think they're probably going to... It ends on... Technically not a cliffhanger, but they hint that something is up with the Demon Lord. So I'm sure that's going to go someplace at some point. But it, like, yeah. So if there's another season or whatever, I'd be fine with that. I'd probably watch it. Again, I need to watch the second season of Konosuba as well. Because, again, I also thought that show was fine. I know people point at Konosuba as, like, one of the best isekais ever. Isekais. I never know. And I think Konosuba is fine as well. Like, there are some good jokes. It's definitely one of the higher up isekais. And I don't know, I'd say this is probably higher up than, like, some of the other shit I've seen. I gotta go to sleep, but thanks for showing me how to bag bells. Oh yeah, maybe I'll see you around. I stream, I'm here every day. So yeah. Yeah, glad I could help. But yeah, one of the other interesting elements of the show, at least I think potentially, is because even though this is a fantasy world with magic, a trope I do love is where it's like a fantasy world with magic, but there used to be technology, right? Like, technology used to exist in this world, but, like, it no longer exists. Like, Zelda does it all the time, where, like, oh, there's this ancient civilization of magic that, you know, has gone extinct, and now we only have, like, the remnants of their technology. Admittedly, some Zelda games do it better than others. I think Skyward Sword goes a little too far. And even this show, kind of at the very end, goes a little too far. When you have, like, this giant mech robot, I think that kind of goes a little too far. But other than that, like when they stroll into town for the first time, there's like a tank on display. And it's like a long time ago, this tank was used to defend the city. But now it's like worn and broken. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I don't know. The idea of like a modern, like a destroyed civilization that that uses magic, that used to have technology, sometimes even that used to be Earth, I think is interesting. I love, oh gosh, there was a D&D thing I saw one time where it was, they were playing D&D and they were in like some ruins or whatever, and they were exploring the ruins, and in them they pick up they find like some treasure, and they pick it up and it's like, oh, what's this? And they do a history check and it's like, you've heard of this ancient artifact called gun. And it's just like, oh yeah, that's so cool. When it's done well, I think it can be really good. It's not always done well. Again, the giant, like, there's hints that, like, the Chimera in this show were made by, like, technology that, like, no longer exists. And, like, it's when you get futuristic. When you take modern technology, or even, like, World War I and World War II stuff, and put it in the show, I think that's cool. And I think you can get some good moments out of that. It's when you go too far with it. Or when, like... Or I like it when it's old technology. I don't care for it as much when, like, the heroes are taking technology from, like, their world and putting it in the fantasy world. Oh, what's that show called? There's one about, it's like gifted children have it easy in another world, or something like that. Where they're like 7 like super genius kids who are like all best friends, and they get in a plane crash, and all of a sudden they wake up in another world. It's something like gifted kids have it easy in another world. And in that show, what ends up happening is they end up like, first of all, they start a religion and claim that one of the kids is God. Then they start, like, arming the villagers with, like, AK-47s and whatnot, so that way they can defend themselves. And then the show ends, or at least the first season, if they ever make another one, I don't know. but the show ends with them setting off a nuclear bomb. And I'm just like, nope. Like, even by, like some of it I'm fine with. Like, medicine, I'm fine with them taking, this magical world and introducing medicine into it. Because, you know, that helps people or whatever. But by the time you're literally building a nuclear bomb, I'm like, nope, you've gone too far. And yeah, I think that show went way too far. Talk about a show filled with freaking like literally every character in that show is a fucking Mary Sue. And like is it the worst thing I'd ever seen? No, but I do not care for it. You know, since we're just killing time at this point, let's go talk to Gulliver. Let's go get a bathing suit. But yeah, so yeah, combatants will be dispelled was fine. And I know the main character brings in technology from his world. Like, he brings in a, like a chainsaw weapon that just allows him to kill one of the demon lords. And, like, I guess my other thing with it, though, is that this is a comedy. Those other shows are trying to take this very, like, the Problem Children, whatever. I don't think it's called Problem Children Will Have It Easy in Another World. I think that's a different show with a similar name. But, like, that show is trying to take it, like, seriously. They're like, oh, let's talk about the moral implications of setting off a nuclear bomb. This one is more like, you know what, I got a chainsaw weapon that's basically a cheat code. Right, let's tell jokes about it. And they also they establish that the main character is, like, a cheater. Like, he will do anything to win. And, like, that's what makes him, like, one of the best agents for this evil organization. I don't know. Again, technically it's not perfect. But you can have fun. You can have fun with it. That's isekais. Isekais. I've always... Again, I don't know. Isekais are not the best shows, but they can be fun. And I just try to have fun with them. And that's why I don't like that Problem Children one. It's not fun. It's taking all, like, the formulaic shit about isekais that I don't like and just putting it in there. Whereas this is, you know, like, and you may say, well, oh, this is supposed to be parody, but it's actually really bad parody because they're not, like, satirizing any of the tropes. They're just doing the tropes and trying to be funny about it. And I guess you're right. So I guess I would say it's not parody. It's just doing the tropes, but it's trying to be fun with it. And I will take something that is fun, at least trying to be fun, over something that's boring. I'd even take, again, when it comes to, okay, that's actually not entirely, I was going to say, when it comes to anime, I would rather have something that's bad but entertaining than something that's boring. But no, I don't want either of those, honestly. God. I always quote Handshakers as the bad show, but there are others. Can't think of any of them. But, yeah. But yeah, I thought it would be... I thought it was a fine show. Nothing great. I know I've said that like 1,000 times, but it's the truth. I think it's fine. It's an isekai. I go in with certain expectations, and when the show lives up to those expectations, I'm like, yeah, okay. Again, I thought Konosuba was fine, so like something made by the same person. I think I'm also like, yeah, that's fine. I should watch Konosuba again. I should. It'd be better than watching those other isekais like, In the Other World with My Smartphone, or whatever the fuck that show was called. I think it was In the Other World with My Smartphone. Where he gets, like, a smartphone that allows him to, like, use any type of magic. Which, I don't think I ever finished. But I thought, like, there was one thing that I found interesting about that show. At least I thought they were going with it. Because in the world, there is, like, the 4 elemental types of magic. And then there is, like, Oh, it's not light magic. It's something like that though. But it's like unique per person. So like every person uses like a different type of like, so, or I don't think it's every person, but like, oh, someone could have like a unique magic spell that like usually they're useless. Like I think one of the ones that they like joke about as being useless is someone has a unique magic spell that just makes other people trip. That's it. So they can be really useless, but it's unique to you. So only one person could have that spell. Whereas like tons of people can learn water magic or fire magic or whatever. But then they establish that, hey, guess what? The hero, if I remember correctly, which I could be totally wrong, he can't use any of the elemental magics, but he can use anybody's unique magic. So, like, he gets that tripping spell, and he fights, like, a demon general or whatever, and he just defeats the demon general by making it trip a bunch. And I'm like, oh, that's not a terrible idea. That's got comedic potential. But I just remember the show being kind of boring. Like, the supporting cast wasn't too interesting. I just remember it being kind of underwhelming, you know? And I don't think I ever finished it. I might have. But in my memory, I think I got to, like, episode 8, and then I just kind of moved on. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a while, definitely. Because then there was another show that was kind of similar. But I don't remember all the details. Because, again, it's been a while. Where he, like, ends up buying, like... Oh, gosh. What does he do? I know he ends up, like, buying, like, slaves to, like, set them free. And there was, like, a lizard girl. And I want to say there's, like, a cat and a dog girl. And it's a boring, generic isekai that is just kind of generic. I don't remember the name of it, though. Shit, what was it called? Oh, it's, Rhapsody Death March to a... It's like something like Rhapsody Parallel Death March to Another World. It's something like that. It's something like that. I think it has Rhapsody in it. But like Death March to Another World or Parallel or something like that. And yeah, somehow he gets like... He's an isekai protagonist and he gets like land and money. And he goes out and like he wants to go out on an adventure and he ends up buying slaves. But with the intention of setting them free, and then he like makes like an elite military unit out of them, and it's a whole thing. Again, it's another generic isekai that blends together. I get why people are sick of the genre. Because, again, thinking of some of these shows, they just blend together in my head. But every once in a while, there's something good. Or something fun that, you know, I can have a good time with. Not always, but every once in a while. I knew today was just going to be talking about anime. But yeah, I watched that show. I've been watching that show over the past, like, week. And I finally finished it the other day. Because at this point, I'm just buying time until Pokemon comes out. In tomorrow. Which, again, we're not streaming Pokemon. I know it would make sense for me to do... But nope, Animal Crossing is the stream game at the moment. And then eventually we'll move on to do other stuff. Depending on when this series ends, that will either be Kirby, or that will be, I don't know, something else. Maybe I'll even attempt that Pokemon Nuzlocke. That I will fail. After playing the Diamond and Pearl remakes, I can guarantee beyond a shadow of a doubt I will fail a Nuzlocke. It's just, when will I fail? Will it be at the first gym? Will it be at the third gym? Will it be at the 8th? I can guarantee you I will fail. Also, if I'm doing Sword and Shield, I gotta figure out how I'd handle the wild areas. Because I've seen different approaches to it. So I'd have to figure that out. Or do I just casually play through Sword and Shield? Now, I want to try a Nuzlocke. I know I'll fail it, because Nuzlocks require immense knowledge of both the game you're playing and the Pokemon, just Pokemon battling in general. And I have neither of those. Like, even though I've been playing Pokemon for 20 plus years now, I don't know shit about shit. Like, what is, ground type weak to? No fucking idea. Nope. I can tell you electricity is weak to ground, but other than that, is ground weak to water in Leaf? It might be. It might also not be. I have no idea. I know nothing of... I just play Pokemon to have fun. There's a reason I never cut it as a competitive battler. There's a reason I did better in competitive Smash than I did competitive Pokemon. Because I don't know shit. I'm very bad at those games. If it wasn't clear from when we talked about the Diamond and Pearl Elite Four, where even though through 90% of that game, I was doing fantastic. My team composition was working great. And then the Elite Four just kicked my ass 6 ways to Sunday. It's very clear that I know nothing about these games. I don't know the type chart. I could probably name like 90% of all Pokemon. Like if you... I admittedly... Okay. If you were to just ask me to name every Pokemon, I couldn't do it. If you were to show me like a picture... and then have me name it, like, if you were like, hey, here's a picture of the Pokemon, name this Pokemon, and you had me go through all 800 something Pokemon, I could probably do that. But just, like, naming them all off the top of my head without a visual reference, nah. Nah, I wouldn't. I'd fuck up immediately. I'd forget something. Like, I think of that one episode of Versus, where they have Matt versus Jeremy, and naming all the Pokemon. And it's just, like, it's just a list. I'd screw that up. Just naming the original 151, I would totally forget something. I don't know. I've never actually tried that. I've never actually tried naming every Pokemon before. I'd also totally spell names wrong. Yeah, I know we have all these. Do we have bamboo slate fence? I think we do, but I'll check. Again, I have no idea what I have anymore. Oh, yeah, we do. Okay. I figured, but I wasn't 100%. Oh, gosh. Festival is coming up. Yeah. Yeah, Festival. Yeah, did I have any news to talk about today? Okay, I'll read that later. I'll read that later. Was there something? Oh gosh, McDonald's. So, you know, I like to try the weird foodstuffs, you know, the stupid foodstuffs. McDonald's is for their next thing. Instead of making like a new thing, they're instead introducing like like, you know how people do like the McDonald's hacks. The one I specifically always think of is the McGangbang, which is probably I think it's a McDouble and a chicken sandwich. It might just be a normal cheeseburger and a chicken sandwich. I don't remember the details. But, you know, there's the McGangbang. But they're introducing like 4 like special like menu hack items. One is an egg McMuffin with a hash brown on it, which actually sounds decent enough. One is a double cheeseburger with 6 nugs on it. At least it's probably 6 nugs. Again, Nuganomics tells you that there is a perfect nug ratio. And if I remember my Nuganomics correctly, the perfect nug ratio is 4? So 6 seems like a lot, but whatever. And you know, it's probably got like a barbecue sauce on it or whatever. There's a McDouble and a chicken and a Filet-O-Fish. I have not had a filet. I don't like fish. Like, I just don't like fish. Like, I don't like sushi. There's the only restaurant, like, homemade fish, nope. I hate the smell. Ooh. The only restaurant whose fish I ever liked was, I think it was a place called Captain D's. They no longer exist. At least I don't think they do. But they had good fish. It was, fried fish that, like, was just good. But they don't exist anymore. And then, but yeah, so it's a McDouble with a Filet-O-Fish. And then their last one, which this is just wild, is, I think it's called Air, Land, and Sea. Because it's a Big Mac, but on the top, there's a beef burger and a chicken patty. And on the bottom, it's a beef patty and a Filet-O-Fish. So it's four meats. Or 3 meats, but you know, 4 like slices or whatever on one sandwich. Which I know one of the things people wanted was a Big Mac, but with the chicken in it, right? Instead of beef with chicken. Which, you know, that would have made sense, but instead they went, oh yeah, here, we're going to put fish in it, we're going to put chicken in it. It's probably going to be terrible, but I think I'll try that. Like, I definitely am more willing to try that than the stupid KFC Beyond Meat, if you know what I'm saying. If you seeing what I'm saying. But yeah, that was the thing I saw today trending on Twitter, and it's like the audacity of these guys. I don't know. You know me, I try weird food stuffs. So I'll probably try this in the future. Maybe it'll be good. Probably not, but... Because, again, that just feels like too much. Like, if they were just doing a Big Mac with chicken, I'd be like, yeah, no, perfect. That'll probably be great. But, meat, beef, chicken, and fish, nah, that's way too much. I don't know. Did you ever do that thing where you put fries on the burger? You know how, like after you go swimming, and I don't know why people equate this with swimming, but I do as well, where after you go swimming, you get, like, a ham sandwich, and then you put Doritos on it, and it just hits different. Did you ever do, where you're, like, you got, like, a double cheeseburger at McDonald's, and you put fries on it, and it just hits different? I probably haven't done that in, like, a decade, but I did at one point. You know what, I don't get people who don't, like, people who are still appalled by people dipping fries in their Wendy's Frosty. Like, that is something people have been doing for decades now. And there are still people who are, like, disgusted by it. And I just don't get it. Like, it makes perfect sense. It's basic food science. Salty and sweet go together really well. It's like why I put salt, when I make brownies, I put salt on them. Because it tastes really good. You dip fries in a Wendy's Frosty because it tastes really good. Because that's salty and that's sweet. Oh, but I will say fuck that song. That song that does it. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, fuck that song. It's annoying as hell. The one about going to Applebee's. I think it's called Fancy Like. Yeah, that song's annoying as hell. It's literally just writing an advertisement. And they did use it for advertising, because of course they did. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to end off for today. I mean, like, we're not doing anything else tonight. And we're probably not doing anything else tomorrow either. I mean, maybe, I don't know. We've worked so hard to get our, oh gosh, what is it called? It's not a pharmacy. We've not... Dispensary is where we're selling it. This is a... I almost said plantation. I don't think that's right either. Right, we've worked so hard to get our product up, and we've opened our dispensary. Now we just gotta start selling stuff. But, yeah. Like, so right now I'm like, okay, well, what's the next project we do? We gotta get better counters at some point, but I'm not stressing about that, obviously. Yeah, obviously. You know, we got boxes, we got jars, we got the whole works. Why can I not remember what it's called? I know it has a specific name. It's not, because it's not a dispensary. Because at least I don't think dispensaries also... I think dispensaries and where they grow it are two different things. It's, I guess, farm, but I swear there's a specific word. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But yeah, we've worked hard to get this up, our operation up and running. You know how long it took to get some of those permits? But you better believe I got those permits. You know, it's an honest living. Oh, we can't see the safe from the other side. Or from this side anyways. Oh yeah, we got gold in there. Yeah, nothing's sacred, but it's a living. Hey, oh, here we go. Yeah, so I don't know. Well, we got more. As always, we got to work on the vegetable garden. We always got to work on that. That always requires more effort. But, we'll get to that. Yeah, that's where we're going to end off for today. Tomorrow, I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow will hopefully be an earlier stream, because then I'm going to go play Pokemon. And I'm going to play so much Pokemon. Okay, I don't actually think... I'm probably going to I'll probably, in the entire weekend, if I'm lucky, I'll get 6 hours. But hopefully those will be a really good 6 hours. Yeah. Yeah. 6 hours of Pokemon. It's a Pokemons. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that next time. Yeah, I guess, like I said, we'll figure out something to do for tomorrow. Eventually, we'll probably do another Paradise Planning thing, but I was thinking doing one today, but I guess even though we should just bring in somebody, I'm also kind of just waiting to see if anybody cool shows up. You know, I've gotten to that point, because we've made so many houses, we only have a few spots left, and I do want to fill them all up before the series ends. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But with that, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.